Stay on the highway and make sure you reach Tao by sunset, he says as he signals his troops to let you pass. Enemy scouts have been sighted in the hills south of the capital. If you are not inside the city by nightfall, he draws a finger quickly across his throat. So what about you? Does that mean you're going to get in before nightfall? You thank him for his advice and watch as he and his troops wheel away and ride south. You pocket the invitation and glance apprehensively at Baindon before pressing on with your journey north. It is late afternoon when you see the Tower Hills. They appear like a mirage on the horizons, shimmering beyond the haze that rises from the sun-baked plain. Without stopping for food or rest, you hurry across the hot grasslands and follow the highway as it ascends towards the mouth of the pass. A stone watchtower guards the entrance to the hills, and a cluster of whitewashed huts lie huddled around its base. If you have the Magnakai discipline of pathmanship and have reached the Magnakai rank of tutelary, I have done that. Your senses tingle with a premonition of danger. You are sure that the watchtower and huts conceal an enemy lying in ambush. You tell Baindon your fears, and he looks ahead, his keen eyes narrowing. But the pass is dark, and in the gathering dusk he cannot detect anything unusual about the settlement except that it appears deserted. If we avoid the pass, we'll have to make a wide detour and rejoin the highway at a place deeper in the hills, he says, scanning the shadowy highlands. Even if we don't get lost, we'll be lucky to reach Tao before nightfall. If you wish to avoid the settlement and take a wide detour, you decide to gallop through the pass despite the risk of ambush. You know, I'm going to gallop through the pass, but not because I'm afraid of getting there at night, which obviously is a concern, but because if we don't take care of this ambush, you know, someone else might get caught in it, like a defenseless citizen. And I think we're much better equipped to handle it than they would be, so we decide to gallop through the pass despite the risk. Actually, I'd rather take on the ambushers, if that's an option. You enter the pass side by side, galloping your white Anarian steeds along the rubbish-strewn roads that wind its way through the deserted settlement. By side, galloping your white Anarian steeds along the rubbish-strewn road that winds its way through the deserted settlement. As you pass the watchtower, a chilling howl rises from the shadows behind the huts. Then, like a demon from a nightmare, a host of snarling Gaks burst into view, riding from their hiding places astride giant doom wolves. They thunder towards you on either side, shrieking and thrusting their spears at the darkening sky. Choose a number on the random number table. Alright. Random number time. ... 8! It's 5 through 9. Turn to 257. Okay. The highway twists like a relentless snake as you gallop headlong through the darkening Tao Hills. The unholy bane of the Doom Wolves draws steadily closer as you fight desperately to keep your tired horses ahead of the ravening pack. 3 miles from the Watchtower settlement, the fastest pack members draw level with you and race along a dry watercourse. Their eyes and fangs glint evilly in the moonlight as they cut across your path, forcing you to stand and fight. Very well. That's what I wanted to do anyway. The Doom Wolves howl and their Gak riders crackle with glee as they hurl themselves upon you. You lash out with a at a gray-skinned rider, cleaving his grinning head in two and swinging your arm back just in time to dispatch a Doom Wolf that was leaping towards your face. All around you, the snarl and screech and press of bodies threaten to overwhelm your senses, but you are a Kai master, and in the heat of battle, your nerve is ice cool. Grimly, you fight with the speed and skill that leaves a dozen dead in as many blows. But you do not fight alone. Baindon rears into view, flashes of flame spurting from his fingers with a crack like a whip that echoes above the din of combat. Then another wave of wolf riders appear. They charge into the fray, driving a wedge between you and your companion. A black sword cuts the air less than an inch from your scalp, but you deal its wielder a fatal blow before he can strike a second time. He falls, yet his Doom Wolf mount leaps up and clings to your horse, its claws buried in the saddle leather, its foaming jaws snapping at your throat. You must dispatch this beast quickly before it drags you both to the ground. Doom Wolf, combat skill 18, endurance 26. Do you have the Magnakai discipline of animal control? No, I do not. Alright, and here's the combat system for this new thing. Here's how it works. You put in the enemy's combat skill, the enemy's endurance. It automatically takes yours into account, and check this out. You press start combat, and And it pops up a little window that talks about it. Combat round 1, your combat ratio is +9, your number is 8. The enemy took 18 damage and only has 8 endurance points left. You took 0 damage. Would you like to find another round? Yes, I would. Alright. Yes, you have defeated your enemy! Lone Wolf took a total of 1 damage and has 39 endurance points. Yay! It only took 2 rounds. I'm at 98% now. Alright, so for the last 3 rounds or less, turn to 306. The dead Doom Wolf drops heavily to the ground, and your horse rears up on its hind legs, churning the air with its forehooves, which strike like steel hammers amid the remaining wolf riders. More than one ends its days with your horse's hoofprint stamped into its shattered skull. Alright, you go, buddy. A gap appears, and you see Bandon gallop past, his loose robe streaming out behind him like a pair of blue wings. You dig in your heels and urge your brave horse after him, fleeing the battleground as yet more wolf riders loom into view. Well, we took a lot of them out. The wolf riders give chase, but their pursuit is half-hearted because they're scared crapless of you. And you have covered less than a mile when you hear the Gax call off their hunt. They console themselves by hurling threats and vile curses at your back as you disappear swiftly into the dusk. The highway emerges from the hills at a village called Varta, situated at the edge of the Tau Flats. The flats consist of fields of cultivated crops forming a fertile market garden 2 miles wide, which is farmed right up the banks of the great moat that encircles the capital. Varta is deserted. Its male inhabitants now sheltered within the city walls, whilst women and children have traveled south to the safety of Nevasari. As you leave the empty town and descend onto the flats, you catch your first awe-inspiring glimpse of the ancient city. Tau is an ancient stronghold containing a vast city, and is a formidable and wondrous sight in the moonlight, and the imposing walls and towers of red stone and grey rock assume the softening sheen of velvet, and the city is often referred as the Velvet Fortress. Beyond the towers and high curtain wall, you can see 1,000 spires and minarets grouped as thickly as trees in a forest. Tiny lights twinkle in countless windows and portals, adding to the splendor of the mighty capital. Near to the city's south gate, the highway is flanked by beacons which illuminate those who approach the gatehouse. A drawbridge spans the moat of black water, and as you ride across, a bell tolls from the portcullis archway ahead. "2 civilian riders at the south gate!" yells a soldierly voice. "Raise the postern!" shouts another. There is a clatter of chains and a scraping of stone. You watch the portcullis, expecting it to rise, but it does not move. Instead, a narrow portal opens at the base of the wall, and an armored guard steps from the shadows. He motions you to enter, and you follow Bandon along the corridor of stone, leading to a secure enclosure. You glance upwards to see the faces of a dozen soldiers peering down at you from behind the parapet that encircles the high enclosure wall. All of them grasp loaded crossbows, which they train on you as you move. Then a small gate creaks open, and 2 guards appear, armed with broad-bladed spears. "Who are you?" one demands in a gruff tone. "Why do you seek entry to Tau?" If you have an invitation and wish to show it, yes I do. The guards inspect the invitation, their expressions conveying their doubt that the signature it bears is genuine. They order you to dismount, and one of them hurries off to summon the gatehouse commander. Fortunately, when he arrives, he recognizes Lorther's mark and allows you to leave the enclosure, although he impounds both your horses. Oh, great. You protest and demand they be returned, but to no avail. "Orders of the Senate," says the commander offhandedly. "An emergency decree. All horses belonging to the civil population must be delivered to the care of the garrison stables until the state of emergency is lifted." Reluctantly, you allow the guards to take your steeds, and as they are being led away, the commander hands you each a piece of vellum stamped with a date and a number. "Receipts," he explains, his tone noticeably more friendly. You pocket the receipt, mark it on your action chart. Due to its size, you need not delete another special item should you already carry the maximum quota. Oh, good, good. They are about to walk away when he calls out, "Report to the Citadel first thing in the morning. You'll be allocated your battle positions for when the enemy attack." Aw, but I got things to do. Leaving your horses in the south gate tower behind, you enter a wide avenue flanked by workshops and houses, all built of red stone and rock sheathed in red plaster. The buildings themselves are small and densely packed, yet each one, no matter how humble, has a spire or tower that soars into the sky. The large, sleepy-eyed heads of stone dragons gaze down from the balconies of marionettes, crowned either with bulbous, onion-shaped domes of copper, or with platforms housing engines of war recently installed. Baindon points to an eating house and suggests that you stop there for some refreshment. Chaban's house is more than an hour's walk from here, and you are ravenous after a long ride. If you wish to enter the eating house, sure, why not? It's not like we're in a hurry or anything. The eating house is crowded with soldiers. They sit at benches drawn up to long oak tables or sprawl around a log fire that crackles in a broad stone grate. Your entrance causes them to pause in their noisy conversation as they look you up and down. However, their curiosity is soon satisfied, and they return to their feasting and boasting. This way, gentlemen, beckons the owner, and leads you through the crowd to a table in the corner over the high-ceilinged corner of the high-ceilinged room. Baindon hands him a clutch of silver loon, and the jolly red-cheeked man waddles away to fetch you food and ale. The soldiers are dressed in a variety of uniforms, many of which you recognize to be the tunics of mercenary regiments from the Stornlands. Two of these soldiers of fortune share your table. They talk in hushed tones and cast nervous glances at another group of men sitting near the fire. If you wish to talk to these soldiers, if you decide to say nothing, no, let's talk to them. The men are plainly displeased that you have interrupted their conversation. One of them, a sallow-faced knave with dark eyes and curly black hair, snatches a jug from the table and takes a long swig. He slams it down and turns to his friends. "Did you know," he says, red wine squirting through his rotted teeth, "my brother Gain was killed in Raggadorn last year. He was stabbed in the back by a lousy Northlander." Slowly, he turns his head and stares coldly into your eyes. "I hate Northlanders," he snarls. "They're all cowardly, backstabbing scum." You notice his hand leave the jug and slip below the table. If you wish to tell him you're sorry to hear what happened to his brother, wish to prepare for combat in case he attacks you, wish to leave the eating house. No, tell him we're sorry. Be civil. "Save your sympathy," he sneers, "'cause you're about to meet him face to face." Suddenly he lunges forward, a curved dagger gleaming in his hand. He flicks his wrist, and the razor-sharp blade whips through an arc towards your throat. You have the Kai discipline of hunt mastery. I do have that. Your Kai mastery alerts you to the attack, and you resist it with breathtaking speed. In one swift movement, you unsheath your weapon and lash out at your attacker, shearing off his arm at the elbow. The arm and dagger fall to the table as the soldier collapses, screaming to the floor. That's right, you don't mess with the Kai Lord. Shocked by what he has seen, his comrade kicks back his bench and retreats from the table. However, the drunken crowd goad him to retaliate, and their jibes sting him into action. He pulls his blade free of his scabbard and leaps forward to attack. Alright then, we got another combat going on here. Oh, and of course I have 40 again, because I have curing. So we have another combat. Skill of 15. Oh, this poor guy has no chance. Endurance 26. Start combat! You've defeated your enemy! I did a one-shot kill on the guy. No endurance points lost. As you step over the dead bodies and head towards the exit, the door crashes open and in rushes a squad of guards from the gatehouse, South Gatehouse, summoned by the owner of the hall. They are all armed with crossbows, which they aim at your chest. "Yield, Northlanders," orders the captain. "You have no hope." Oh, accept our mercy. Aw, crud. I should have just left the eating house. Oh well. You cast your eyes around the hall for another exit, but are all barred. Reluctantly, you both raise your hands and are taken back to the South Gatehouse Tower. Baindon, because he is a magician, is taken to another part of the city wall to be questioned, while you are imprisoned in a cell high in the tower itself. Place an X beside each of your special items. Yeah, okay, so they took my special items. I may get them back. I hope so. I'd lose a lot of good stuff if I don't. Stupid people picking a fight. Probably should have just left. Oh well. The iron door slams shut and you are left alone to contemplate your unfortunate arrival on Tao. The cell is narrow and damp with patches of mold that discolor the red stone walls. The uneven floor is strewn with filthy, moldy straw, and stale air is heavy with the stench of rotting food and sewage.